Brenda, morning to you. Indeed, the Mao issue isn't dying away any soon. Remember that the eviction that spanned 60 days, it was a voluntary movement of people from the protracted area of Mao that was termed as forest area, and it elapsed last month. And on the first of this month, the Environment Cabinet Secretary, that is Keriako Tobiko, led the exercise of reforestation and just planting trees in the area that was left by the people and termed as forest land. But remember that that issue has now gotten its way into the corridors of justice, where Professor Paul Chepkwony, the governor of Kericho County, is now moving to Arusha. He had moved to Arusha initially, and the case is ongoing, where he is now contesting the issue and just terming the eviction as an affront to the welfare of the children that were staying or residing in the Mao that was termed as forest space. And so remember that that is one of the cases. And so he's arguing on behalf of the children whom he says that they were impoverished and their lives tempered with, they cannot stay there. And as such, the 15 schools that they were attending have remained ghost places, and they cannot attend those schools. And remember that George Natembea, who is the Rift Valley Regional Commissioner, said that there's 15 schools that are in the Mao are unregistered, and as such they are unrecognized by the government. But the governor of Kericho is now still pursuing justice in the corridors of justice, so that the kids can be returned from in the Mao. But remember that even if they got justice, then their parents were evicted from the Mao. And also remember that that is not the only case. There's another case by the locals that was just lodged at the Nakuru law courts some time back. And remember that when the case was to be determined on 28th last month, that is the exact time that the judiciary was undergoing the cash crunch. And on the material day when the case was supposed to be determined, the court did not sit. It had no session because the judiciary indicated that there was no budget for its operations countrywide. And so by the time they were resuming, the time for evictions, the 60-day window given by the government, had already elapsed. And also remember, there is another case where the African Commission on Human and People's Rights that just finished its 65th ordinary session in Bangui, Gambia, had also given the government an order, just ordering it to stop, issued an order ordering the government to stop any eviction of the 60,000 persons who are residing in the Mao. But remember that the exercise had already left the dock and already even elapsed within the 60 days. And so it is a matter of wait and see, because also remember that in the political circles, some politicians, political leaders were arguing that this issue amounts to a humanitarian crisis, and they were even threatening to go to the ICC based in The Hague, Netherlands. And so all these persons have left the political circles and all political banters and just headed to the corridors of justice, where they hope that their justice will be granted. But it's a matter of wait and see, because all these leaders are now ganging up against the Cabinet Secretary for Environment, who said and indicated quite emphatically on the 1st of this month that that space and anybody who purchased land, any person who sold or purchased land in the protracted area is a criminal. Those are the exact words that he used. And so it's a matter of wait and see as to how the various courts of law will be deciding, because remember that the courts of law are situated within the borders and others are situated out of the borders of this country. So it's a matter of wait and see as to how the courts will be deciding on the course of this issue of the Mao issue. Brenda.
Ochanda, lastly, so as we speak right now, how many families have so far moved away from the Mao forest?
Brenda, we were on ground since when the issue started, and they were talking about 10,000 families that transforming. If each household holds more than like an average of 10 people, then it translates into around 60,000 persons in the Mao. But we were there personally, and the number could have been lower, because remember that in the first phase of eviction, it saw quite agony and anguish experienced in the protracted area. But in the second eviction, people were moving out voluntarily until the last day. People were still moving out on the last day. And so the number was being talked about as 60,000, because that is what the African Commission on Human and Persons Rights that sat in Bangui, Gambia, was talking about 60,000 people. But the authorities here were talking about 10,000 people in the Mao. But also remember that it's been done in two phases. And so talking about whether it's 10,000 or 60,000 persons that were displaced from the Mao, it's quite a significant number. Also remember that there are some wards that were dislodged, and as such, the members of the county assembly who are representing the persons in the various wards, in the respective wards, were rendered jobless, because remember, they were representing people. And so when the people are dislodged from the various wards, they are rendered jobless because they have nobody to represent in their various or specific county assemblies. Brenda.
Till report, so the Mao case has moved from Kenya to from the Kenyan courts to the African Court of Justice and Human Rights in Arusha, Tanzania. Reporter Alan Ochenda will be giving us more details later on. Now from Nakuru, in Kisumu, fishermen decry the